Hey everybody, this is Mace1370 with Average Drafters, starting a 8-4 RTR draft. I've done 3 or 4 of these, so I think I've started to learn the format pretty well. Looking at this pack, I think the best cards are Detention Sphere, Thought Flare, and Augur Spree. Axebane Guardian is also very good. In terms of power level, Thought Flare and Detention Sphere are probably the best. Some people will say that Izzet Red-Blue is one of the worst guilds though, so that would be a reason to avoid that color combination if you're averse to playing Izzet. I think Azorius is pretty strong, so looking at Detention Sphere is probably going to be my pick. I could see an argument being made for Axebane just because it's only one color and it keeps you more open. There's really no other good Azorius cards in this pack though, so I think we're sending a good signal by taking Detention Sphere. Okay, there's really nothing Azorius-wise for us in this pack. The only card would be Swift Justice, which isn't something that I'm super excited about for second picking. There's another Axebane Guardian, which is one of the better cards in this pack. That and Common Bond are probably the standouts. So, since we can't really take a card that goes well with our first pick here, I think it's reasonable to just take one of the better cards in the pack, which is probably Axebane Guardian. If you take Common Bond, I mean, there's really not too many Azorius decks where you're splashing green for Common Bond. It's just not really worth it in my opinion. We might end up in, green-white, and then you could splash blue for Detention Sphere, so I think that's a good reason to take Axebane Guardian here. And just to note, we're really not passing much in this pack, other than the Common Bond. Okay, so we have a few options here. Azorius Justicar is very good, Dryad Militant is good in a aggressive deck. Azorius Arrestor is good, but it's not as good as Justicar probably. Spurious Skywatch is good if you're in Azorius. I think the pick here is probably Justicar. It's white, which will probably end up playing whether we go, Azorius or Selesnya, and it has a higher power level than Azorius Arrestor. Eyes in the Skies is very good if you're in Selesnya, but I think at this point we just kind of want to keep ourselves as open as possible, and Justicar is good in any of those decks. Okay, that's a late Thought Flare, which could indicate that a couple people to our left are not in Izzet, but like I said earlier, I'm not a huge fan of Izzet, and I think that's true for most people. So, haven't seen a whole ton of Azorius. We saw the Skywatch last pick, but other than that, nothing that really wants me to go into Azorius directly so far. The Detention Sphere I think we can splash if we end up in Selesnya. So now I think the pick is either between the Guildgate, the Centaur Healer, or the Rootborn Defenses. Rootborn Defenses is a great card if you're in Selesnya. It's probably the best populate card. Centaur Healer is also really solid too. We don't have any cards that can abuse the populate mechanic yet, so I think because of that we take the Centaur Healer here and see where we go. That's a World Spine Worm, which is quite large. There's an Inaction Injunction, which would be good if we were in Azorius. Fall of the Gavel is okay, it's kind of a sideboard card. Drudge Beetle it's okay, it's just a 2/2 dork. So I think the options here are to take either the Drudge Beetle, which we could use as kind of a filler card in Selesnya, or an Action Injunction. Still kind of leaning either way. If we take the Inaction Injunction, I think it's just a better card than Drudge Beetle. That would tip us more towards the Azorius path, which is kind of what I'm leaning to. Drudge Beetle is just not that exciting. I'm okay taking the Inaction Injunction here in case we don't end up in Selesnya. Okay, so here we have a couple options again. Golgari Decoy is okay. I don't think it's that good in Selesnya. I think it's better in Golgari, which I don't care for very much. The best cards here for us are either Centaur's Herald or Sunspire Griffin. Sunspire Griffin is probably better in a Azorius deck, but it's still good in Selesnya. But Centaur's Herald is is very good. It's basically one of the top cards you want if you're going into Selesnya. Getting it this late, I think, is a good sign. Or not this late, but around this time is when you want to be picking it up. So I think we'll take that. And things keep kind of going back and forth. We have another inaction injunction, and we also have a Courser's Accord. I think we want to take the Accord here. Now I wish I had taken the Root Board Defenses perhaps a little bit earlier instead of the Centaur Healer, but I think it was still the right pick at the time. Other okay cards, Keening Apparition is a good dork, especially since you're able to get rid of cards like Detention Sphere or Arrest. Brush Strider, I don't really know where this card fits. I don't think it works well in Selesnya. A 3/1 doesn't really do much for you. You're not so aggressive that you need to play it. I guess it's okay just to trade away for something they have, but I've never been super impressed with it, so we'll take the Courser's Accord here. Okay, so there's not a lot for us here. We could take a Golgari Keyring if we wanted to splash black later, but we already have the Detention Sphere. So, if we're going to splash anything, it's probably blue. Concord Pegasus is okay. I think it's probably at its best in Selesnya because it lets you it's a good defensive card for 2 power flyers, and it's also a good target for Common Bond later on. A 2/4 or a 3/5 flyer is really tough to deal with in this format, so I think that's what we're going to take here. Alright, so if we were in Azorius, Dispel would be the pick. It's actually pretty good, but it doesn't seem like it's valued very highly. We could take Horncaller's Chant. I'm not super excited about that card. You need quite a bit of ramp to really make this playable. Right now we just have Axebane Guardian. Before I would play it, I would probably want at least a second Axebane and maybe like a Keyring or something, and maybe a couple Gatecreeper Vines just to ramp into it, and even then it's not that exciting. Civic Saber's okay, but it's not that good, so I guess we'll take the Horncaller's Chant and probably not play it. Druid's Deliverance is a decent sideboard card if you're in Selesnya, so we'll take that. Probably hiding the Inaction Injunction here since it looks like we're not going to go that way. Course of Might's okay, so I think we'll take that here. It's an okay pump spell. The best part of it is that it gives trample, so you can get in for some points of damage. Selesnya is great at just making a ton of 3/3s and 2/2s and stuff, so Chorus of Might's pretty good here. Paralyzing Grasp is not good enough to splash, if you were wondering. This is all crap. They can play any of that, so I guess I'll just take the green card. And here I will take the gold card, because why not? Gold cards are good, right? I guess we'll take a second Horncaller's Chant, even though we probably won't play it. Super late Psychic Spiral. It's time to change plans and go into the mill deck. We'll just ditch all of our green cards. I think it'll work out. So starting pack 2, I think we want to just get more of the core of the Selesnya deck right now. A really good rare force, though, Wayfaring Temple. This guy is really solid. Just the fact that whenever he does damage, he populates is a good effect. Mostly just the fact that he can be, like a 3/3 or a 4/4 for 3 mana is pretty solid for you. And they're pretty incentivized to block him since, once you have all your tokens out, if he gets a hit in, he gets bigger and makes more creatures. There's really not much else for us here. A Void Wielder, I suppose we theoretically could splash, since we're already splashing for blue, but I would be more incentivized to take the good card that's in our colors. And then I guess just to note, Lobber Cruise, good if you're an Izzet. Pursuit of Flight is a good Izzet card, which I think people really undervalued at first. It's interesting to me that you have cards like Void Wielder at common, which are very good, and cards like Pursuit of Flight are still so playable. It's an interesting format. Okay, this pack is kind of a dud for us. We have Aerial Predation, I suppose, is a okay sideboard card. Not super excited about Rumbleback Rhino. It just doesn't do anything in Selesnya. It's okay in Golgari, I guess, but I think Golgari is pretty bad. So let's see here. We have Keening Apparition, which is it's an okay filler 2-drop, but I think we'll get plenty of those as we go on. So Aerial Predation is probably the pick here. There's a lot of flyers in this format. We haven't picked up any Giant Spiders or Azorius Indrik or whatever it's called. So I think Aerial Predation is the pick here for our sideboard. Alright, so in this pack, again, not much for us. We have Savage Surge, which it's okay. I prefer just Giant Growth, to be honest. That extra point is good. Security Blockade is not the worst. it's another card that makes tokens for us that we can populate off of. I think Centaur Herald is better enough than Security Blockade that we'll probably just take that. 3/3 for 3 is good, and the 3 life really does help. It helps you get to the late game. Helps you race. Okay, what do we have here? This pack is also kind of a dud. I didn't think we passed that much Selesnya, so maybe we're just not opening very much. This card is not good. I've played with it once and it was terrible. I've heard other people have played with it several times and it's bad. It looks like it might be better than it is. We definitely don't need a third Horncaller's chance, so I think we'll just take Selesnya Sentry. It's okay. It's a 3/2 for 3 basically, and the Regenerate is occasionally relevant, but don't count on it. Alright, so here we have a couple cards that we could take on our color. We have the Gatecreeper Vine, which is probably the pick, especially since we're planning on splashing the Detention Sphere. If we could get an Azorius Guildgate later, that would be a great pickup, and would have a good amount of synergy with that. Aerial Predation number 2 is a consideration, so is Golgari Decoy. We could take the Azorius Charm and splash it, but I don't think it's good enough to justify that, and we only really have the Axebane Guardian to fix right now. So I think the Gatecreeper Vine is the pick, since it will help us play Detention Sphere, which is very good. Okay, well, this is actually a tough pick. We have Rootborn Defenses and Common Bond. Both of these cards are very good. I like Common Bond a lot. And Rootborn Defenses, like I said earlier, is pretty much the best populate card you can have in Selesnya. Right now, I don't know if we'll play the Horncaller's chance or not. Now that we have a Gatecreeper Vine and an Axebane Guardian, it looks like we might get there. And the only token cards we have right now are really Courser's Accord and Centaur's Herald. So yeah, I think right now we take the Common Bond. I'm pretty sure that's the right pick. I'm really not sure here though. This is tough. I think if we had a few more populate cards, then Reborn Defenses would be justified, but since we only have 2 so far, I think it's right to take the Common Bond there. And it also worth noting that we don't really have any, I guess we have Courser Might. Never mind, I was going to say we don't have any pump yet. So this is a really late Axebane Guardian. That's very good for us. That's a good sign. I think our colors are pretty open here. This format, in my opinion, is really dependent on reading signals and staying open, or rather getting in colors that are open. You can get really punished if you force and don't do so successfully in this format. Mana Bloom is pretty poopy. I would never play it unless I really had to, I guess, but I really hope I don't have to. Axebane Stag is alright. It's filler though. Okay, so I guess we just take Savage Surge here. Maybe we'll play it, maybe we won't. We'll see. Oh shoot, I should have taken Cellar of Songbirds. That was terrible. But it's okay. We're rewarded. We're not rewarded, but we are given a second one. There's nothing else for us here other really than Cellar of Songbirds. This card is, again, it's good in Selesnya. It's not amazing. I would much rather take Centaur's Herald, or some of the other token cards like Knightly Valor. Cellar of Songbirds is nice if you have things like Common Bond to pump up the bird tokens, and it really shines when you have Phantom Generals, because then you're making 2/2 flyers, and that's pretty strong. So I think here the pick is Keening Apparition. Fills up our 2-drop slot. It's probably one of the, I guess, better 2-drops you can have in terms of like the filler 2-drops, just because there's a decent amount of enchantment-based removal in this format between Paralyzing Grass, Arrest, and the odd Detention Sphere. So I think we'll take that. Maybe you can make an argument for splashing this. I don't think this is really splash-worthy in our deck, though. I guess we'll take another Savage Surge, but we don't really need it. Just going to hide those because I'm not sure if we'll end up playing them or not. I guess we'll take Oat Street Innkeeper and then not play it. Oh, this is tough. Mesium Skin or Foil Plains? I think we just take the Mesium Skin here because it's actually like a card that you could play. And by you, I mean our opponent. Swamp. So our deck is looking okay so far. I think we could do better. So hopefully we'll get some decent cards, and by decent cards I mean we will open absolute crap. Underworld Connections is really good if you're in black, but we're not. Dramatic Rescue is good if you're Azorius, but we're not. There's Concord Pegasus, but I think we just take Rootborn Defenses here. And hopefully we can pick up some more token cards. The fact that these haven't been tabling, I think they get counter draft decently because they can be such a huge blowout. There might be, another Selesnya player at the table. There's usually two, so he's probably taking them all. So yeah, hopefully, we can get another Centaur's Herald or two and some other ways to make tokens. So here we have Phantom General. I think this is pretty clearly the pick here. Yeah, there's really not much else for us. We could, take this and splash it, which is actually pretty reasonable. I actually like this guy more in Selesnya than I do in Azorius. The 5 mana to detain a creature is really expensive. It only becomes relevant in the super late game, which I think Selesnya is better at getting to than Azorius, just because, you have like the Centaur's Herald for life gain and whatnot. Azorius, everything flies in Azorius already, so giving a creature flying is not as good as it is in Selesnya. We might table a card out of this pack. It seems like it's fairly deep, so we'll see. Okay. So we could take Courser's Accord number 2, which I'm not super thrilled about, especially since we have the Horncaller's chance as well. Courser's Accord is not terrible, but having so many of them is just not that exciting. That said, in our colors, there's really nothing else for us here. I mean, we could take a Dung Beetle, but that's not very exciting. I think the pick here is Cyclonic Rift. We have 2 Axebane Guardians, and we have a Gate Creeper Vine. We still haven't really seen any Azorius Guild Gates, but maybe we can get one. This card can be such a huge blowout when you overload it, which, is what we're looking to do. We're probably not going to, want to just cast it for the 2 mana. So by the time we get to 7 mana, we'll probably have a blue source. And this card can be basically just a one-sided Wrath that's splashable. Okay, again, not much force here. Our options are Void Wielder, which is a strong card. And it looks like we may be playing a touch of blue, so you could make a strong argument for that pick. Another option is Azorius Keyrune, which will help us play the 2 blue cards we've already taken. This is pretty tough. I'm not really sure which direction I want to go. I think taking the Void Wielder is the greedy pick. You take that and then you hope to get another fixer later on. Right now we basically have 1, 2, 3. So if we play 1 island, that gives us 4 sources, which would be enough to play 3 blue cards probably. The Keyrune here is nice also because it helps us get up to Horncaller's Chant. So I think because of that, I think we take the Keyrune and resist the urge to be greedy. It seems like Selesnya is getting pretty cut off right now. We haven't seen a whole lot in these first few picks. I don't know if someone else has gone into it. It seemed like it was open enough in the first 2, but now Azorius is seeming more open. So for us in this pack, there's really not much. We can take a Vassal Soul and just kind of play it as a dork, but that's all there really is for us. Stonefair Crocodile isn't really worth playing since we don't have black to give it lifelink. And cancel is 2 blue mana, so we can't really play that. Okay, that's a late teleportal, or a late-ish teleportal, but like I said earlier, people don't really care for playing Izzet, so it's not super surprising to see that this time. Our options are Inspiration for some card draw. We could take another Concord Pegasus, it's just a defensive dork. Same thing for Armory Guard. We could take a Sundering Growth for the Populate effect and just have it, in the sideboard. We haven't seen much enchantment-based removal go around. We just saw the one Paralyzing Grass pack 1. There might be something else that I missed. I can't remember. So since we have the Keyrune, I think I might just want to take the Inspiration. Having another Concord Pegasus is not super exciting. And, I think we might have opened one in pack 1, so we might get another one later. So I'll take the Inspiration here. And I guess, we have another Sundering Growth here, so I guess I'm glad I didn't take the first one. I don't think we need another Selesnya Sentry. I presume this card is good in Golgari, but I've never been Golgari and gotten this card at the same time. I don't know, even then it just seems kind of weak. Golgari is just so slow. You're trying to put something with Scavenge in the graveyard and then Scavenge on for value with this, but even then that's just not that much value. And it takes 4 mana just to start it. I'm going to take the Sundering Growth here for the sideboard. Alright, so here we just take the Azorius Guildgate, so it's good that we got one of those. Someone's going to have Fairy Imposters and Void Wheelers up the wazoo this draft. I don't think we need a second Chorus of Might, and this just helps play our blue cards, so definitely taking that. That was a nice late pickup. Here's the Concord Pegasus from earlier, so I guess hooray that we got that. I guess we could take this just for a pseudo finisher, but you know, I think we're going to probably end up playing these Horncaller's Chants with our Axebanes, the Gatecreeper Vine, and the Key Room, so I don't think we need this for a finisher, so we'll just take the card that will help us get there. Okay, so I don't know if we have enough blue to play these in Action Injunctions. Maybe we do, and just kind of try to 3-color it. The alternative is a Drudge Beetle, which I keep reading as Dung Beetle. Yeah, for a huge beetle, you think there should be more than a 2/2. I'm just going to take the Inaction Injunction, I guess. Yeah, I think we have plenty of dorks in the two slot. I don't think we really need any of these. I guess we'll take another Horncaller's Chant. People aren't valuing an Action Injunction this draft, or maybe just no one's in Azorius. Yeah, I don't know if we can play the Inaction Injunctions. I'll have to go to deck building and see where we stand. So overall, I think our colors were open in the first 2 packs, but then in the 3rd pack, I'm not really sure what happened. Someone probably jumped into Selesnya, which is unfortunate for us, but you know, we have the fixers to play a little bit of blue, so I think we have plenty of playables to make a passable deck. I really wish we would have gotten an Eye in the Sky. We only saw that first one in pack 1, so Phantom General is still good in our deck. You know, we have some token makers, you know, but we didn't get any Nightly Valors either, so that's disappointing. I don't know if we played the Aerial Predation or not. Probably play at least one of those, maybe 2. Play the Key Room, play that. Get these guys in here. And then let's see what we have for white. We'll play our Pegasi, Canyon Apparition, we'll play the Rootborn Defenses, play our Cellar, play our Phantom General in this guy, converted mana cost. So now for blue, we're definitely playing Cyclonic Rift and probably the Inspiration. Alright, so let's see, where are we at here? We need a 23rd card. It very well could end up being an Action Injunction. The alternatives are a second Horncaller's Chant. I don't know if we want 2 of those. They're pretty expensive. Let's see. In terms of finishers, it's kind of the only finisher we have right now. I mean, it's either that or to swarm them with tokens. It's a shame we really didn't get more Eyes in the Sky. Our 4-drop slot is pretty open. I don't think we need another random 3-powered or 3-costing cost dork. And I don't know, I just playing an Action Injunction just doesn't seem strong here. You know, you're basically just cycling it late game. So I think it comes down to maybe Chorus of Might for some additional pump, or Sundering Growth for another Populate effect, or another Horncaller's Chant. We have a decent amount of acceleration, so I think Horncaller's Chant is the answer here. And we'll put in the Guildgate, and let's see what Moto suggests for lands. That seems wrong. I don't think we need nearly that much blue. We have 2 Axebane Guardians for 2 blue sources, a Gatecreeper Vine for a 3rd, and then the Guildgate for the 4th, because we only really need 1 blue source in play at any given time. So I don't think we really need to play any islands. None of our blue cards we really absolutely need to slam the turn we get them either. So just having the Guildgate's probably fine. And then cranking, let's see, that's up to 7 blue sources, or 7 green sources plus these 2. I suppose we could play 1 island. I don't know if we really need to though. See, we only have the 3 blue cards. Vassal Soul, we were probably just going to be casting with white mana. And then we also have the Key Room. Did I count that? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think, yeah, that's fine. I don't think we need any islands here. So this is probably fine. Maybe I should have put another plains in instead of a forest, but I think this is okay. You know, we want enough green mana to always have it, because we really, you know, we need to be able to play our Axebane Guardian and our Gatecreeper Vines to get the fixers for the other stuff. They'll help fix everything else. So I think this is what we have here. I'm going to go ahead and submit, and then I will start the recorder back up when the first round starts.